Alright. So, it looks like we still got The World is Waiting. When the initiative arrived in Helios, they thought their golden worlds were lost. As Pathfinder, you restored the Pioneer dream and brought every available world to 100% viability. Now everyone wants you to show what that effort has earned. Return to Habitat 7. So now I have to get... There's a vault in Habitat 7 now? It's gonna be interesting going back there.
We're in stable orbit.
Meridian. Orbital distance irregular. Orbital period irregular. Radius 1800 kilometers. Atmospheric pressure 1.03 atmosphere. Surface temperature not available. A hollow sphere protecting a controlled and malleable environment, Meridian is a technological marvel. Hub for the Vault network and home to the growing center of human settlement in Helios.
Anomaly detected. Deploying probe. Getting a scan.
Comet Jarovbes. Nucleus 7.2 kilometers irregular. Coma cloud 49,000 kilometers. Current tail 839,000 kilometers. Logged by its Angaran name, this comet has a highly irregular orbit that brings it back into systems at unexpected intervals. Highly irradiated. Titanium deposit. This is a beautiful looking planet. Path 76. Orbital distance 31.4 AU. Orbital period 41.6 years. Radius 9197 kilometers. Atmospheric pressure 0.22 atmosphere. Surface temperature 959 C. The nickel and cobalt surface of Path 76 is hot enough to melt any other metals. A few deposits turn molten and resolidify with a change of seasons.
Probes launched.
Mineral deposit?
Tracking a huge mineral deposit.
Thought so. Data aluminum, a valuable light metal. This deposit is close to the surface and relatively easy to mine. That's a beautiful looking planet. Path 77.
Anomaly on sensors.
Orbital distance 38.2 AU, orbital period 41.6 years, radius 6727 kilometers. Atmospheric pressure 0.34 atmosphere, surface temperature 425 C. Abnormally cool for a planet so close, in relative terms, to a Beast-type star. Path 77 is a mountainous desert world with a nitrogen-heavy atmosphere. Okay.
Probes launched. Anomaly found.
Mountain, height 15.4, origin unknown. This mountain, the tallest on Path 77, is distinct in size and shape from its neighbors. Scans detect minute traces of element 0 embedded in the rock. I wonder how the element 0 ended up there. And Roja. Orbital distance 198.2 AU, orbital period 66.0.8 years, radius 11,471 kilometers, atmospheric pressure 0.16 atmosphere, surface temperature -17 C. Vast clouds of dust in Roja's atmosphere have left its frigid surface in a state of eternal midnight. This is extremely likely to be related to Roja's proximity to the Scourge. I think there's still another planet there that I almost missed. Pass 9.
Anomaly on sensors.
Pass 09. Orbital distance 238.2 AU. Orbital period 870.7 years. Radius 8248 kilometers. Atmospheric pressure 0.33 atmosphere. Surface temperature 825 C. Pass 9's orbital path is poised to take it on a centuries-long journey deep into the Scourge. Observing the results should provide invaluable scientific insight.
Deploying probe. I found something.
Crevasse. Length 401 kilometers, average width 14 kilometers, maximum height 9 kilometers. A small number of remnant bots patrol the base of this vast canyon. Our sensors cannot locate anything else of value. However, whatever the bots are guarding may be long gone. Cool. So I guess we're going back to Habitat 7, which is how we started this. When we thought we made it. The world is waiting. we don't have an outpost in Habitat 7. Are you supposed to make an outpost there? Is that what the plan is?
Anomaly on sensors.
There was an anomaly, I didn't catch it.
So, back at Habitat 7. What am I supposed to see? And what's it got to do with 100% viability?
I'm getting initiative signals, magnetosphere charges, and atmosphere probes.
The vault here remains non-functional, but with 100% viability to invest, we've begun terraforming this world with initiative technology.
The good old-fashioned hard way. It'll eventually be a home too, thanks to you.
A team effort, surely.
There is one more item, Pathfinder. Opening channels to the Nexus, Meridian, Prodromos, Detaeon, Tevuni, New Tachanka, and Initiative allies. By unanimous vote, this world is to be renamed. Habitat 7 is now listed astronomically as Rider 1.
Oh my
Your world,
gosh.
Pathfinder. Their future.
I have a planet named after me? I have a whole planet named after me? That is amazing. That is so amazing. I already got this one. And there was an anomaly.
Anomaly detected.
Might as well grab that anomaly real quick. That
Intense
was so
scourge
cool.
activity is common in this area. Might be worth planting a probe. We've arrived at a Scourge nav point appropriate for data collection.
Nice, thank you. I don't think we need that anymore because we already beat the game, because we were using it to find Meridian. Or find where Meridian went to. We have Ratul, Var, Rovir, Typheno, and a whole bunch of other new places that I don't necessarily want to grab those just yet. You know, I can do that off camera. I feel like that doesn't really add any value to my Let's Play, so I'll probably just get those off camera. Cool, and I guess... Why does this look like there's still more? Read email from Drac. I still have more to do. This ending never ends. It's just as bad as as bad as the Return of the King. Some good news to Ryder from Drac. Hey kid, been thinking about how much we've been through since I came aboard. We nailed Spender and the Archon. Survived a whole mess of things. It's about time I let you in on a little secret. Something good. Meet me on the Nexus and don't tell anyone. Drac. Okay. Drac still has something. You and Meridian. To Ryder from Carrie to Vessa. Hello, Ryder. Historic doesn't even begin to cover it. Meridian will have entire textbooks to itself. Any interview footage you have to give me before things turn upside down again? Alright. I was wondering when we were going to do the final interview with her. Interesting find. To Ryder from Kalo. Hello, Ryder. Liam found this on a Nexus message board, and I thought it might amuse you. Attached is a vintage watercolor-style painting of the Tempest grounded on Meridian, with Kalo posing heroically in front of it in a scarf and old-style flight goggles. I didn't imagine anyone knew what I looked like. You're the famous one these days. It's rather fetching, though. If I can get a clean copy, maybe I'll put it up somewhere. I'm happy for you, Kalo. Don't let it get to your head. To Ryder, the Conqueror, from PB. I know you got a million people shining you on right now, so I'm here to talk you off the pedestal. We are not done, Buster. There's a galaxy of secrets out there, and I'm gonna go get them, with or without you. Your call. So lap up the praise, but do it quick and get your hiney back in gear. Buster. PB. Okay, so much more to do. To Ryder from Liam. Things I wrote as we walked away from Iridian Control. This is the best sunlight I've ever felt. The Hyperion hit hard, but it's home now. All these people are home now. I'm going to walk this whole sphere. Wonder if there's fish. Can we make fish? We brought fish. What's in that star? I think I'm going to cry, and it's great. Tomorrow will be great. Let's go exploring. Is this a nod to the Krogan who wanted fish, were wondering about fish on the Citadel? I have a feeling it's not really, but that's what first popped into my head. Costa. Instead of a list of media, there's just home as a header, and a bunch of blank entries to be filled in later. Thank you. To Ryder from Betra. Guess what? They want to name a gun after me. They might do one for everyone in the Pathfinder's crew. Well, I mean, I have a planet named after me, so why not? Can you imagine the lines? You trying to be funny? Nix that. Wow. Sorry, I need to work on my one-liners. Vetra. I kind of like that Vetra, honestly. I like puns. As you can probably tell, I'm a sucker for puns. To Ryder from Suvi. Dear Ryder, I thought you'd like to know that the science team has decided to name our first Helios Milky Way plant hybrid after you. Oh, thank you for trying to spoil the surprise. I'm glad I found that out before I read this, Suvi. It's not exactly viable yet. About 90% of them die. Oh, a plant, not a planet. A plant hybrid. Whoops, okay. About 90% of them die shortly after germination, and those that survive tend to be sterile, but we're getting there. Okay, I just read this over, and I feel like it could almost be taken as an insult, but I swear it's not. Suvi. Anyone who's oh gosh, any one of you who is Scottish, please don't get offense to that. Communications from Jal. Or Irish? I'm so sorry. I always keep mixing up Scottish and Irish. I'm so sorry. I'm sure somebody in the comments is gonna correct me. To Ryder from Jal. Ryder, in case you haven't seen the report, celebrations are breaking out on Si-yah and Navarre. People are walking with a lightness to their steps, and there is even more laughter than usual. Recruitment for the resistance has never been easier. On Vold, while the Ket are in disarray, we will take down their bases one by one until they are gone from the planet forever. People hope that one day the Vessel will be a thing of the past, and that all worlds will be like Si-yah. Change is coming for the Angara and the humans. We're lucky to have each other. At least that's what Ephra said. No, he really did. Wow, really? Jal Amadarab. Good work. To Ryder from Korra. We secured Meridian, gave the Archon hell, and made the cluster bloom. No Huntress team could have done better. That's because of you. I am proud to have been your second through all of this. Oh, Korra, you've came a long way. We didn't need Golden Worlds after all. Just the right person for the job. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Korra. Korra, that is so sweet. Oh yeah, this is about the movie night, which I didn't archive. Meet Drek on the Nexus. Oh, that's so sweet. That is such a great message from Korra. Alright, we got... I feel like this is hopefully one more thing. One more thing before I close and give my final thoughts. For now, until the DLC, which hopefully will involve a Quarian ship. Hopefully. Look, see, and I like the detail of the fact that the Hyperion is no longer docked there. But that's because they're gonna dock the Quarian ship on there. So, like, yeah, the Hyperion is no longer at the Nexus because we have our own artificial planet. Oh yeah. Where exactly am I meeting Drac? I'm sure HNS has a whole ton of things to report. Yes. Nexus Ambassador named. Moshai Shefa has been named Interim Ambassador to the Nexus. The appointment of the Angaran leader is heralded as a smart political move, given the Milky Way species' alien status in Helios. Remnant City uncovered. An entire Remnant City has been discovered on a space station in the Civ Key system. The station was thought to be Meridian, a widely speculated key to sustaining life in the galaxy. Leaked footage shows Initiative forces encountered heavy resistance from the Ket on the station. Nexus sources tell HNS the city was not in fact Meridian, and that their search continues. Ket routed, Meridian found. The Ket defeated, Meridian found. In a dramatic battle that killed the Archon, the mysterious remnant technology known as Meridian was activated. While the limits of its power are still unknown, the effects are widespread, making any world with a vault not only livable, but sustainable. The Hyperion was nearly lost in battle with the Archon, but thanks to the bravery of the Ark's pilot, Captain Dunn, props to Captain Dunn, Its estimated 20,000 passengers in stasis survived the crash landing. Species across the galaxy are heralding the decisive victory over the Ket as a major step forward toward galactic unity. Condition upgraded. Specialist Sarah Ryder is reportedly in stable condition after helping stop the Archon and secure Meridian. Doctors expect the human Pathfinder's sister to make a full recovery. Habitat 7 renamed Ryder 1. In honor of his achievement in the Helios cluster, the planet formerly known as Habitat 7 has been renamed after the human Pathfinder. The Pathfinder's father, former Pathfinder Alec Ryder, was killed exploring the planet. Now it will bear his son's name. Both the that's so fitting. Both the Initiative and the Angara approved the honor. We all owe Ryder a debt of gratitude, said Moshae Shefa. I'm proud to call him an ally in this new and exciting era for our peoples. Alright, I gotta go find Drac. Up somewhere. Up here? Drac is up here?
I talk to my family every day.
Here?
Everything's reading normal. There's
Dr.
snuggles.
Carlisle.
Oh, hey, Ryder.
Harry? What's going on here?
You're telling him? Oh, can I watch? Please.
Of course.
Got something to show you.
I love surprises.
Except the ones Peavy
Wait.
does.
Are those
Krogan babies?
Krogan children. My children.
Vorn?
Live in the egg. Every last one of them.
Oh my goodness.
Nobody else knows, Ryder.
Wow.
We're keeping this quiet after what happened with that human baby born out here.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in store for me, but however this turns out, I'll be part of our future. And so will you.
Aww.
So, does that make me the godparent?
Don't let it get to your head. We're going to need more than one.
Hope. It's a scary thing.
That's so
I'll
cool.
teach them, Ryder, about what we used to be and what we are now.
Just like he taught me.
Oh, I love that. Congrats to you and Vorn. That's so cool. And they're gone. They decided they wanted to keep the whole thing a secret, that they grabbed everything and left. Okay. Alright. I love that. That was so cool. Carrie, there you are. That's what who I was looking for.
You're here. I'll give you my entire chocolate ration for an interview about Meridian.
Done. I'm down to the ones with strawberry goop in the middle.
I love those.
So, Meridian's real. A promised land. You did it. The Hyperion's a mess, but that crash site does mean humans have a claim to Meridian.
Technically, yes. But practically, our allies will always be welcome.
It's good to have that on the record. I'm headed out there soon. Documenting Meridian could be a lifetime's work, even for an Asari. I can't wait to get started.
Nice.
Now that's history in the making.
Sweet. And I think that's about it, right? About it on the priority. So I think we're good. Sweet. Oh, man. So good. So awesome. Thanks for nothing, education.
I talk to my family every day. They can't believe
Okay.
half of what I tell them.
So, continuing on with my final thoughts from the credits, because I thought I was giving my final thoughts during the credits, but then we had extra things. So my apologies that my final thoughts are sort of broken up. I'm just going to have this be the backdrop with the Nexus behind me, with Ryder and the Nexus behind me. So, yeah, just to continue what I was saying. If you didn't like the series, if you hated Mass Effect, that's fine. I honestly loved it, and I'm not just saying that because, you know, I'm not just saying that just because I'm fanboying. I feel like I'm legitimately saying this is how I honestly feel, and I don't think I'm necessarily I think if I'm overlooking anything, it's not because I'm wearing rosy glasses, in my opinion. It's just the game was just good enough for me that don't know, I just had a lot of fun with it. And it's surprising to me that BioWare, I think, has announced that they're actually putting the series on hold. I don't think they're necessarily putting it on hiatus. I think they're still going to be coming out with DLCs for this one, but it looks like they're not necessarily focusing on putting out another game, another Mass Effect or Mass Effect Andromeda game anytime soon or right away. And that surprises me only because, the main reason why that surprises me is because I felt that that Dragon Age 2, so they just did really, BioWare had just done really well with Dragon Age Origins, and then Dragon Age 2, I admit, was a rushed mess. There were a lot of things about Dragon Age 2 that I felt BioWare dropped the ball on. I think they pushed the game out way too fast. They didn't put nearly as much time. It didn't give enough attention as it really deserved. And it showed. I think it greatly showed. And I felt that Dragon Age 2 overall was a much worse game by far, in my opinion. Much worse game. I definitely noticed a lot more things that you could hate on Dragon Age 2. The recycled stages, for example. Those are the kind of things that I can see hating on more in that game than I ever did in Mass Effect Andromeda. So I felt that the Dragon Age 2 was a far greater disappointment to the Dragon Age franchise, way more, in my opinion, than Mass Effect Andromeda was a disappointment to the Mass Effect franchise. And yet, BioWare did not put a hold on the Dragon Age franchise like they're doing right now with Mass Effect. They still decided, no, we're going to make a Dragon Age Inquisition. So that's what really surprises me and confuses me, because if they were ever going to do this, I would think it would have made way more sense for them to have done this after Dragon Age 2, not after Mass Effect Andromeda. Again, that's just my opinion. That was the biggest thing. So I already addressed the whole thing with the graphics and animations, and the reason why I thought people typically play BioWare games is not because of the amazing graphics, and it's not because of the animation. It's because of the characters and the character development and the story, all of which this game delivered. I went in hoping and expecting to get really deep character developments and really nice and fun and awesome story, and I felt like I got that. Those are the kind of things I look for in a BioWare game. That's what I think BioWare is known for, and that's what I think BioWare is strong at. Not their graphics and not their animation. So if the graphics animation is the most verbal thing, the noisiest, the loudest criticism that people have, I feel like they're missing the point of a BioWare game. Like, that's not why you play the games. So that's why. Like, if the animations and the graphics were amazing, if it was amazing, but the character development was super shallow and the story just wasn't there, then I would think people have a more legitimate reason to hate on the game, because that is the main reason, in my opinion, why people at least did play the BioWare games back in the day, was for that. So those are the important parts. Those are the things that makes the BioWare game a BioWare game. So if those suffered, yeah, totally. Then I feel like hating on it would be legitimate. But hating on it because of graphics or animation and having that be one of the main reasons, and again, I'm only saying that because that's the loudest, it seems like the most verbal reason, then I feel like you're missing the point, in my opinion. So that's just my thoughts on that. There's just so many things about this game that I feel did so well that I think that the naysayers aren't giving enough credit for. For one thing, the side quests, most of the side quests were so well done, so well executed, so well written, then I honestly feel like more than any other RPG game that I've played to date, any RPG game that I've remembered, at least within the last 20 years or so, I don't think any of them has had nearly as good side quests, nearly as well written and deep and involved side quests as Mass Effect Andromeda did. Now granted, there were a few fetchy ones near the end that I got a little bit annoyed at because they were kind of fetchy, but fortunately they covered, I believe those covered a great minority of the side quests that you get versus the ones that were really well thought out and written. I feel like people don't give enough credit for the game for that. I thought they did really well with, again, handling a lot of great one-on-one moments with the crew. I personally would have loved more group moments with the crew. Like, they absolutely nailed the movie night one. That gave me like Citadel DLC feels. And I wanted more of that. I would have loved more of that. But the ones we got was great. I already talked about the romances. I really enjoyed Gil. I got what I wanted from Gil, with the exception of they probably should have added a few more scenes with him or spread it out more. But yeah, I mean, those are the main things that I noticed from this game. The soundtrack was amazing. The biggest thing, again, that I also missed, I should mention this. The biggest thing I missed was the tactical pause in combat. I feel like that is something that I don't understand why BioWare decided not to include that in this game, because I'm not good at fast-paced games. I'm not really good at first-person shooters or just shooters in general. And Mass Effect was a very good action RPG for me because of the tactical pause, because I can handle it. Much like Fallout is a game that I personally can keep up with, because they used to have a pause feature, and I'm fine with what they ended up doing in the most recent Fallout, where if you use your VATS, it doesn't pause it completely, but it severely slows the action down. I feel like they could have made a similar thing in Mass Effect. If they didn't really want you to pause forever, then at least make it so that the people like moved incredibly slowly. Because I just felt like the combat was a lot more frustrating, and at the end I did really well on combat, but I felt like I could have bumped up the difficulty more if we had the tactical pause, because if I bumped up the difficulty more, I could have been more tactical and would have made use of the tactical pause to be more tactical. But I was afraid to bump up the difficulty because I felt like it was just right, but it would have been more fun. I think combat would have been a lot more fun if I could bump up the difficulty and then use tactical pause. So I don't understand why BioWare took that away. I understand that maybe they were trying to make the action of the combat more fluid and make it more responsive, make it more realistic, because I guess, pausing it all the time made it less so. But like, the players could choose to not use the pause feature if they wanted it to be a lot more fluid and a lot more, action-packed and responsive. Then they could just choose to not pause. So I felt like BioWare should just left it in, like they did with the trilogy, and it was up to the player whether or not they wanted to use it or not. And a good example is in Dragon Age, I think in Inquisition, I believe they added the ability for you to do a top-down view, a tactical camera top-down view. I never actually used that view. It was never I actually was never used to playing a game that way, but I know a lot of players who like playing tactically really appreciated the top-down bird's eye view. I choose as a player not to use it because it wasn't useful to me, but the option was there that players could use. So BioWare could have easily done the same thing with a tactical pause. We could either use it or not. Some people I don't necessarily want to have I don't necessarily want to have a game that is that fast-paced, because I can't keep up with it. There are gamers like me who we just can't, it's not as accessible to us, and I felt like you're losing a chunk of people who sort of depended on that, ability to pause, and I feel like maybe you're trying to do this for the sake of making it more universal, to making this I guess making it more appealing to a wide audience, but I feel like they're doing the exact opposite of that. I felt like they shot themselves in the foot in that maybe some people just have a hard time playing the game, even low difficulty, just having a hard time with that game because the fact they can't do a tactical pause like they did in the previous games. If they're used to doing tactical pause in the trilogy and all of a sudden it's not there, and that's sort of like something that they relied on while in combat during the last 3 games, it doesn't make sense to take it away. So that, I think, is a major, in my opinion, a major thing to drop. But again, it doesn't affect my overall enjoyment of the game. Personally, I was able to get things around combat well enough. So I mean, there were just really great moments in here. Like, I like the humor. I love the fact that you got to play Sarah, that you got to play your sibling Ryder near the end, that your sibling actually got they played a major role in the plot, in the climax of the plot. That's great that they weren't just, I'm glad that they weren't just, a forgotten person, because, your sibling is involved, especially when you're unlocking the Ryder secrets and all. But near the end, it's good to see them actually up and doing things and being in action. That was a really awesome little thing to do in the plot. So I loved it. I really did, guys. I really enjoyed it. How would I rate this with the other games? I mean, I think it's as good as... I really enjoyed Mass Effect 3, and I believe it's as good as Mass Effect 3 was. At least for the base, when you're comparing the bases. If you add in the Citadel DLC, I still like the Mass Effect 3 one more, because the Citadel DLC was just amazing. Overall, I ended up, I think, being way more attached to my squad members in the Mass Effect trilogy. I felt like the squad members in the Mass Effect trilogy were a lot more interesting, in my opinion. Very few of the characters in this game really stood out that much to me. I think the one that stood out the most was Jal, and I think that's just because he was a new shiny race. But Drac he was a cool, and he was a different Krogan, but he wasn't different enough to be super interesting to me. PB was different from Liara, but other than that, I didn't find her really all that interesting. Vetra was super cool. I liked Vetra a lot. She was probably, I guess of all 6, Vetra to me was the most interesting character. Cora was okay, Liam was okay, Suvi I liked a lot. I liked Suvi a lot. I loved Callow a lot. Dr. Lexi, she was okay. She was okay. And Gil was fun. But even though I loved Gil, I think I wouldn't say that Gil was more interesting than, say, Alistair was, or Morden was, or Thane was, or the list just goes on and on. I felt like that there were a lot more interesting characters in the trilogy, and the characters in the squad I didn't end up getting attached to as much across the board. Even like Samantha Trainer, as awesome as Suvi is, Samantha Trainer I thought was a lot more interesting. So yeah, I think that's the thing, is the squads were cool. I didn't like them as much as I did in Mass Effect trilogy. Maybe that'll change in future installments, hopefully, if they are making more Mass Effect games eventually. Probably not right away, but eventually. Would love, obviously, for them to do DLCs. I hope they do DLCs. It sounds like we're getting a Quarian arc DLC is what I'm getting at. So I'll probably talk more about Mass Effect in a future Let's Talk, or maybe a Let's Hang. I might recruit people like Reclusiarch to come on and pick his brain about the game and talk to him about the game, and maybe even other people, maybe even Shally, for example. I know that she's been MIA lately. Who knows? I'll reach out to her and really anyone else who really wants to talk about and chat about it. So, yeah, so those are my honest thoughts. Hopefully the next time I talk about it, I'll be educating myself and finding out what exactly people's issues were with this game and why they hated it so much, and Yeah, maybe I'll be able to address those and talk about those. And I don't think I'm necessarily going to disagree with the negative points in the game. Most likely I'll agree. Most likely I'll agree with the negative points. Like, yeah, I'll agree that the animations were not that great at certain points, that it was buggy. But I don't know if I'll necessarily agree that they would be bad enough that they would cause it to be a bad game, or at least worse than Dragon Age 2 was. And I like Dragon Age 2. I thought that Dragon Age 2 definitely they dropped the ball a lot on, but overall I still like the game. It definitely is by far my least favorite of the Dragon Age series thus far. I just feel like Andromeda is way better than Dragon Age 2, so why I don't remember Dragon Age 2 getting as much hate. They got a lot of hate. They got a lot of hate, Dragon Age 2 did. But for whatever reason, I don't think they got nearly as much hate as Mass Effect Andromeda. And that doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I just don't see it. Maybe you guys can put down in the comments, and maybe I'll start seeing it then. So, thank you guys for watching this Let's Play. I know this is an incredibly long Let's Play. The BioWare games that I play, I love so much. And it's very tiring to do a Let's Play, especially with a webcam. There are very few games that I do a webcam with for my Let's Plays because it is more tiring to do when you know that people are watching your face instead of just, slumping over and just, I could be in my, PJs or something and you look a lot less presentable, not shave or whatever. But I wanted to do, for games that I particularly care for and that I feel like I would end up getting a lot of physical reactions to, the BioWare games tend to be that. I thought that a web LP would be great. So thank you very much for your patience, and for even if you had watched just a few of the videos, or if you watched the entire thing, thank you. It really means a lot for me to know that hopefully you're watching them because you're enjoying the videos, and I'm hoping that you enjoyed the story of my writer. And I hope we'll get to see Skylar and Gil and everybody else again in a future LP, whether it's a DLC or whether it's an eventual Mass Effect game that maybe BioWare will push out someday. That would be fantastic. So, thank you guys, and until next time, love yourselves and love each other.